All right, welcome back, Tulsi Kratz, Bernie Kratz, Radical Independence. I am uh, in charge of all of you. Well, that's my job. I am the Radical Independent. My name is Dave, and you've stumbled upon my channel. Thank you for subscribing if you've done so. If not, please do that if you're getting some value out of this and you'd like to support what I believe to be the beginning, maybe, of a new political movement, not started by me, but started by you guys. You're the ones that are going to do this, and so this is just a place to congregate for a bit and then to move on to bigger and better things. I'm like a warm-up for some of the real channels out there who are really delving into issues in more detail. I'm a guy here that just focuses on snippets of things, and then I do my thing. If you want to support the channel, you can do so via Patreon. Also, you can do this through one-time donations via PayPal. Tulsi Gabbard was at another town hall, and she's doing a great job out on the campaign trail. I know the media really has kind of, just given up on Tulsi Gabbard, because she didn't make the debate stage. Because of those arbitrary rulings, even though a new Harris poll from New Hampshire showed that she had about maybe 6% support, which means technically she was in fourth place. I think we're getting completely gaslighted on every poll that comes out. The DNC is essentially sponsoring polling. They're selectively taking certain polls and ditching more reliable polls, even if you use the Real Clear Politics average, which would be probably a smart thing to do, and say everybody below this average doesn't get on the debate stage and everybody above this average does. Tulsi Gabbard would be on the debate stage, and people like Amy Klobuchar would not be on the debate stage. So just an observation there. Tulsi was asked a very important question at this town hall, and her answer is extremely truthful, and it also shows more or less what we're up against. The media continues to try to force their views and their candidates upon the population. They did this in 2016. They did it in both parties, by the way. Because in the Republican Party, you had a bunch of establishment types that are like Jeb Bush and John Kasich and all of these people that really didn't stand for anything except for more endless war and Wall Street benefits and so forth. Just the usual stuff, whereas the working class people have nowhere to go. And that's why, I figured this out. I'm more of a working class guy. My wife and I, we're both working class people, lower middle class, I would say. And we've got nowhere else to go. The Republicans aren't doing anything for the lower classes. They're cutting taxes for corporations where corporations don't pay taxes and so forth. So that doesn't benefit me. There are no programs out there that they're proposing that would help myself or my family. The economy, yeah, okay. So I can go to Walmart and buy cheap stuff, but what happens when the economy crashes and you can't get a job, or the price of goods and services start to go up again because it's all cyclical, and it will happen again because there's nothing in place to prevent that from happening again. So anyway, just some quick, random, maybe somewhat meaningless observations. But Tulsi Gabbard gets asked a question about why foreign policy isn't spoken of at these debates. The last debate, there was 0 time spent on foreign policy, pretty much 0. So that just goes to show you, everybody believes the same thing in the establishment about foreign policy. Bernie would have been the only person on the stage that might have a somewhat contrarian view, but we didn't get to hear those contrarian views. So, in any event, let's roll this, and then I'll do some commentary on the other side.
Isn't foreign policy as big of a topic of discussion in debates right Why is it not?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I asked myself the same thing last night in particular.
Okay, so with Tulsi not on the debate stage, that means that these issues just go away. Whether you think Tulsi should be the nominee or not, whether you think, oh, she's at 2%, Dave, she's at 4%, so what? You know, Bernie should be the nominee. Okay, well, here's the thing. Her voice needs to be here, even if you're pro-Bernie or not for Tulsi or gonna stick with Trump because the Democrats are a joke. I've been starting to hear that a bit, and most are a joke. I will say that. Most Democrats are very problematic, and I would never vote for them. Tulsi Gabbard is different. Bernie is somewhat different. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, but going back to Donald Trump ensures that, again, the big corporations and, you know, big pharma and big tech and all of these things that we're all very concerned about, none of those issues really get addressed. I don't think they get addressed. All Trump is going to do in the second term is tell everybody how great he is and just coast. I mean, because, you know, imagine him with a second term. I mean, he's already supposedly done everything he wants to do. What else does he need to do? He cut taxes for the wealthy. He cranked up the economy to some degree to make it look as if on paper things are the best they've ever been for certain groups of people. Yeah, there are a lot of low-wage jobs out there that you can get. So Trump can just tout that all day long, and he's going to make some of these other Democratic candidates look foolish because really they're running on "we're not Trump." So there are two candidates for the Democrats and one candidate running in the Green Party right now that I know of who are for more than just "we're not Trump." That's the big difference, and that's why I'm willing to look at anybody who's got decent policy proposals here. But let's hear from Tulsi as to why foreign policy matters and maybe why the debates aren't what we think they are.
Look, I think the media has a big part to play in this. You know, you've got these different media networks, they're hosting these debates. I don't know about you, but it's hard for voters to really walk away. Let me ask you, do you feel like, how many of you watched last night, first of all? All right, about half, maybe half of you.
You're not going to watch it if you're not.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you. Thank you. But do you feel, for those of you who watched, do you feel like you walked away better educated about you know, the depth and understanding on different issues, you know, the nuanced policy differences? Like Grace pointed out, these things matter. You have to make these distinctions. I mean, you get 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And unfortunately, when you look at the highlight reels that come out of this, they aren't pointing out serious policy differences. They're pointing out, you know, the gotcha lines or the attack lines or the things that drive ratings higher. And I think there was only, a couple, maybe 3 questions related to foreign policy, and I don't think there were any questions asked relating to veterans, all of which does a disservice to the most important responsibility that the president has, which is to serve as commander-in-chief. I don't have an explanation for it, other than the fact that there is a basic lack of understanding and appreciation for the cost of war, for who pays the price, the human lives, literally, our brothers and sisters in uniform. Our brothers and sisters in uniform, whose lives are sacrificed in service to our country, but whose sacrifice is dishonored by leaders who are sending them on missions unworthy of that great sacrifice.
And there you have it. Nobody really cares enough about foreign policy, and they don't relate foreign policy to domestic policy. They can't make that leap. Tulsi's been trying to make that leap throughout this campaign. At times, people have even been critical of her for trying to do this and say, hey, look, just be like Bernie, focus on domestic issues. Remember Bill Clinton, it's the economy, stupid. That's what he said over and over again, and that was a line that really stuck with voters and with pundits even nowadays. But Tulsi Gabbard calls this out and says, hey, these debates are ratings-driven, ad revenue-driven. They're not driven by information. When you come out of this debate, you basically hear people with their one-liners and their zingers, and you say to yourself, they had the best one-liner of the night. Tulsi Gabbard, actually, in both the debates she was in, I thought she won both the debates on that level. Plus, she answered with really good information, really good insight into these questions. She turned one of the questions around and had one of the biggest moments of the night, and probably in all the debates thus far. You know, if you look at that last debate, I don't know which moment was, the most important. Probably when Castro was going after Biden, and apparently, according to the mainstream media, it was disrespectful. According to, like, Jimmy Dore, he liked it, even though he doesn't like Julian Castro, and neither do I. I think it's really sad that Julian Castro is on the stage and Tulsi Gabbard is not. Tulsi Gabbard is crushing Julian Castro in New Hampshire, and it just shows you how biased and how rigged and how ridiculous this whole process is. That's why I proposed during that debate that some independent media outlets maybe group their resources and had these candidates on to talk about real issues and to have a real candidate forum where whoever wanted to participate, whether it's like Marianne Williamson, I don't know, that governor from Montana, or whoever's still in the race who hasn't dropped out but who isn't on the debate stage, have all of those people in a real forum where you can hear these ideas, and maybe even include like a Howie Hawkins from the Green Party in there. Because guess what? I want to hear who's going to do what, and I want to hear serious policies and serious ideas for the future of this country, whether I agree with it or not, rather than the sound bites, the zingers and so forth. This has been going on for decades, by the way. It is a dog and pony show, and it's designed for ad revenue and ratings. Pop your popcorn because so-and-so will be up on stage and they'll be standing right next to someone else. I'm surprised that the media didn't try to get Tulsi on there so she could stand right next to Kamala Harris, but that just shows you how much the media dislikes Tulsi Gabbard. So that's my video. Tulsi Gabbard, again, just hitting it out of the park during these town hall events, these campaign events where she's able to answer questions and give complete answers, thoughtful answers. That's why she is the best candidate running still, and I will support her until she decides to not be a candidate anymore. And this channel will try to document some of the better moments of her campaign, because guess what? The media is not going to do it. And so indie media must step up and fill the gap and play an important, crucial role in this election cycle. All right, I am done. I will be back soon, and I will see you then.